This is not a rumor. This is not a leaked message. This is not a social media claim amplified for clicks. What you are about to hear is based on a report formally submitted before the Supreme Court of Pakistan, a report that now exists as part of the judicial record of the country. It concerns the health, custody conditions, and medical treatment of a former Prime Minister, Imran Khan, while he has been incarcerated. The issue at the center of this discussion is not politics. It is not popularity. It is not ideology. It is something far more basic and far more serious: the loss of eyesight while in state custody and the question of whether that loss could have been prevented. According to the report submitted to the court, Imran Khan has suffered a severe deterioration in the vision of one eye, leaving him with approximately 15% sight in that eye. This decline did not happen overnight. It did not occur suddenly without warning. The report indicates that complaints were raised months earlier, that symptoms were communicated repeatedly, and that concerns were formally conveyed to jail authorities. Yet, despite these warnings, the medical response appears to have been delayed. This documentary does not accuse any individual of deliberate harm. It does not allege intent. But it does ask a question that any constitutional system must be willing to face when a person is in custody: who is responsible for safeguarding their health, and what happens when that duty is not fulfilled in time. The report was submitted as a friend of the court document by Barrister Salman Safdar, a legal professional not acting as a political representative, but as an officer assisting the court. His observations, as recorded in the submission, outline a clear medical timeline. At one point, both eyes reportedly had normal vision. Later, complaints of blurred vision began. Over time, the condition worsened. Eventually, a blood clot was identified in the affected eye, a condition that in medical literature is widely understood to require urgent and specialized intervention. By the time treatment was escalated, the damage was already severe. The question that follows naturally is not emotional, but procedural. If the warning signs were present, why was intervention not immediate? During this same period, access to Imran Khan was heavily restricted. Family visits were limited. Meetings with political colleagues were blocked. Even consultations with preferred doctors were delayed. Officials stated that these measures were taken for security reasons. However, when medical complaints are raised repeatedly, restricted access becomes more than a security measure. It becomes a potential barrier to timely care. The law does not require a prisoner to be comfortable, but it does require the state to ensure that punishment does not extend into irreversible physical harm caused by neglect or delay. The report further documents the physical conditions of confinement. Surveillance within the compound was extensive. Multiple cameras monitored movement continuously. Every step, every routine, every moment was under watch. Yet while surveillance was comprehensive, medical oversight appears to have been insufficient. This contrast is difficult to ignore. A system capable of observing every movement should also be capable of responding to a medical emergency. When one function operates flawlessly and the other fails, accountability must be examined. Contrary to widespread claims circulated in public discourse, the report does not describe luxury detention. Meals were described as minimal and light, often consisting of fruit, dates, and milk. Dinner was frequently skipped. Exercise facilities were basic. Sanitation conditions were described as needing improvement. These details matter because they dismantle the narrative that extraordinary comfort compensates for extraordinary neglect. No level of confinement privilege can offset the permanent loss of vision. Historically, Pakistan has imprisoned many political leaders. Some later returned to power. Some never did. Some suffered greatly. But the documented, court-acknowledged loss of eyesight of a former prime minister while in custody stands apart. This is not a comparison meant to provoke sympathy. It is a comparison meant to establish precedent. If the state fails to protect the health of its highest former office holders, it sends a signal, intended or not, about how it may treat anyone else who lacks visibility or influence. Responsibility in this case is institutional, not personal. The detention facility, Adialajail, operates under provincial authority. Medical treatment involved doctors associated with Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences. Oversight mechanisms exist precisely so that failures can be identified without assigning malicious intent. Accountability does not require accusation. It requires acknowledgement, review, and reform. When health deteriorates in custody, silence is not neutrality. Silence is absence. The court has now taken notice. Directions have been issued emphasizing the need for immediate and adequate medical care. This is not an extraordinary concession. It is a constitutional obligation. The right to life does not pause at the prison gate. Medical dignity is not a privilege earned by popularity. It is a right guaranteed by law. The outcome of this case will matter not because of who the prisoner is, but because of what it defines as acceptable conduct by the state. This documentary does not ask viewers to choose sides. It does not seek outrage for its own sake. It asks something simpler and more enduring. When the state takes custody of a human being, does it accept full responsibility for that person's well-being? And if irreversible harm occurs under that custody, will the system confront it honestly, or will it move on quietly, hoping attention fades? Custody is punishment. Neglect is not a sentence. Blindness is not a lawful outcome. What happened here deserves examination, not dismissal. Because today the subject is a former Prime Minister. Tomorrow, it could be someone without a name anyone recognizes. And the standard we accept now will define the justice we receive later. This video is a journalistic and documentary presentation based on publicly available information, court submissions, and recorded statements. It does not make allegations of criminal intent against any individual, institution, or authority. All references to medical conditions are derived from documents submitted to court and publicly reported material. They do not constitute independent medical diagnosis or expert opinion. The views expressed are presented in the public interest, for awareness and discussion, and are protected under principles of fair comment and freedom of expression. Viewers are encouraged to form their own opinions and consult official records for verification.